Today we're going to tear down and rebuild the Quest 3S. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome to Fix My Oculus. We repair VR headsets and controllers. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. You may recognize this Quest 3S. We picked this headset up yesterday and we did a little unboxing as well as sort of a first impressions, first thoughts sort of video. It's got a lot of features that I really like. It's got some things that I don't like, and for the most part I think that my prediction about it using a lot of Quest 3 and Quest 2 parts and just recycling a lot of those components that Meta has used in the past was accurate. There's things that I can point to specifically on this headset, like the speaker arms and the charge port that are Quest 3 parts. And then there's things like these tracking cameras here that are definitely Quest 2 tracking cameras. At least that's what they appear to be. All I really want to do today is take this unit apart and see what makes it work, see how it ticks, see if there's anything else that we can learn about it, and then we're going to do our best to rebuild it, put it back together, so that we can give this headset away to one lucky subscriber. If you've not had a chance yet, it does help us when you like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, things like commenting and sharing, that helps us too. We really just have the one mission here at Fix My Oculus, which is to try to inform people about VR headsets, controllers, the repairs, and the parts necessary for repairs. So if you have a VR related issue, hopefully that's something that we can help you with. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by taking off the strap here. It comes off just like the Quest 3 strap. Nothing new or crazy. Actually, when we were doing the unboxing for this yesterday, I kind of thought it was a Quest 3 strap, except for the fact that the Quest 3S does not have an auxiliary jack here on the side, so the Quest 3S strap doesn't have room for that. So they're not totally interchangeable, but they are really super similar. Next is the face pad here. So this facial foam interface is very reminiscent of the Quest 2 one. Let me take a look here. To me, it actually feels more like a, and forgive how dirty this is, but it feels a lot more like a Quest 2 facial foam interface than a Quest 3 facial foam interface. It doesn't have any of the moving mechanisms, and it's got the padding at the nose, so it makes me seem like, or it makes it seem like maybe if it's got padding at the nose where the Quest 3 one didn't, maybe that was something that they changed their minds about. I wonder if this... Oh, it's bigger than the Quest 2 one, for sure. It wouldn't fit inside there. Not easily, anyway. But it's similar. Then we've got our little eyeglass spacer, which they had to include because they didn't make the foam interface something that could change and adapt. There we go. Alrighty. And of course, I have no real knowledge of how these things come apart or go back together. I mean, you know, I've repaired other VR headsets before, but this unit specifically, we've never done a teardown on it, and Meta doesn't make that information available. So we're just going to figure it out together. For anybody out there who's a Quest 2 person and you've got those nice prescription lenses or some sort of lens adapter system that you are really comfortable with and you were hesitant to move to the Quest 3, it seems like a comment that I'm getting a lot is people had the prescription lenses for the Quest 2s and they didn't want to transition to the Quest 3 because they've got these really nice prescription lenses. Here's some good news. These are the same lenses. These are the same lenses as the Quest 2s. So if you've got the really nice prescription lenses, you've put some money into that to enhance your VR experience, you will be able to just swap those one for one, it looks like. This looks like it's probably a T2 bit. The Quest 2 has these same 6 T2 screws, so that's very familiar. And then this looks like it sits down in here. If it's anything like the Quest 2, there's probably there we go. Okay. So that is a clip on the side there. I just wasn't going far enough in. There we go. All right. Oh, and so I was mistaken. I really thought that this head strap retainer, when we were looking at it yesterday, because you see these little seams here, I really thought that that was going to be a separate component and more like the Quest 2, but that seems like that is just part of the facial interface there, or the face guard, I guess. This is all very reminiscent of the Quest 2, except for we've got this Quest 3 speaker arm design, and that charge port looks strangely familiar to looks a lot like the Quest 3 speaker arm design. Okay, so next it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that are probably Phillips 000 screws. So far this teardown is just like the Quest 2, which is good news for me. That looks just like one of the Quest 2 screws that holds the Quest 2 faceplate in. So ideally, we'll undo these 5 screws and then the faceplate will just kind of pop off the front. Got the battery up top here, so let's see here. Don't be silly now. Okay, and if we are very, very lucky and we have not missed anything super obvious, this faceplate should just come off. I can see the little standoffs in here holding things together. So we're just gotta try and be careful, because we don't know what the wiring layout is. Oh boy. Look at that. Well, that's just great. All right, so we'll put that faceplate off to the side for now. Next things next. It looks like we have a big array of things here that need to come out. We're just going to start poking screws. This is definitely where the differences start. I'll be honest, I don't know where we should begin. So we're just going to begin at the most obvious screws that are jumping out at me. So far, all of the screws are magnetic, which is nice. One thing that we really struggled with on the Quest 3 was that a lot of the screws on the Quest 3 were some type of aluminum screw. So they couldn't be magnetized with a screwdriver, which made the repair process kind of a pain. I'm going to put these 2 guys at the bottom here. And then surely this whole apparatus needs to come out in order for us to access everything else. It would be weird if it didn't. That seems like those are the only 2 screws. Well, I guess there's 4 screws kind of holding that all together. And then, let's see here. This just looks like standard ribbon latch. Go ahead and very gently. And then, this seems like it's holding something down here. So we'll take that out, and then all of this just kind of gently pop up, maybe. Or is there more to it? Okay, I see. So I see where we're going with this. This is 2 separate brackets. I thought that this was going to be one big bracket the way that it is in the Quest 3. But instead we've got 2 of these retention brackets that look like they hold in these cables at the base of the motherboard. Easy day. And then got one little cable holding up things here. That's very Quest 2 reminiscent. If anybody's watched my Quest 2 teardowns, you know about the Wi-Fi antenna bracket. Right. And then that just comes out, and then go ahead and I'm gonna take my power out. Okay. Same battery connection as the Quest 2. And then it looks like we've got 2 of these cables, one on either side. And then this whole assembly just comes out. Oh no, it doesn't. We're still missing something. We're still not sure what's going on here, but we're gonna figure it out. But pop these guys here. Okay, so I think it's just capped on tape, just kind of holding these in, or warranty tape maybe. They need to know that nobody else was in here except for them, which, you know, I guess is their right. Go ahead and pop that. And then not quite free on this end. Oops. I think we're okay if that comes undone. Okay. And then this cable here, this seems like maybe that screw is holding that in, or maybe that's just adhered on there. But I'm hesitant to pull that just right now. This is definitely our Bluetooth receiver antenna. So go ahead and take that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just using my tweezers to pull this little guy up, because I definitely don't want that ribbon to tear. And that feels like it's out of the way now. So I would definitely put that in the new hurdles column. I've not seen that before, with the ribbon in the way of the taking something else out like that, or adhered on in that way. But there we go. There's our little camera sensor array. And so I'll go back on one aspect of this that we talked about in the unboxing video. These are Quest 2 cameras, I'm pretty sure. And these do look like they're fairly well protected in this little housing. At least as well protected as they are on the Quest 2. I'll say that. Kind of seeing them in the faceplate threw me off a little bit because it seems like they're just likely to get damaged. But it looks like to me these are just the same as the Quest 2 camera, but now they're just shielded by this piece of plastic instead of having the little rubber gaskets around them. You can kind of see here what I mean. You know, you've got your rubber gasket in your Quest 2 camera. This looks like it's the same camera. It's just mounted inside this assembly here. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing. The speaker design for the Quests never seems to change too much. I'll say that. You got one on the left, one on the right, and the connection points are fairly consistent. There we go. So, and this is the same speaker arm assembly and the same speaker, it looks like, as is in the Quest 3. So that should be an interchangeable component. Looks like this will just kind of come out since I took those screws out earlier. I guess I could have waited to take those screws out, but they were just right there. Just kind of begging. So something's holding me in. Is it the fan? Fan needs to come out. Fan is much smaller on this unit than on the Quest 2 or the Quest 3. We're going to be in a similar situation with this little guy as we were with that other adhered ribbon. This has got to come up so we can take the rest of this thing out. So we're just kind of gently sever that adhesive, and then that's a unique. This whole thing just kind of houses the fan. I mean, I'm sure it does other things. Kind of probably provides some protection, but that is really just the fan protector. You know, the same as we see on the. Let me see if I can. This Quest 2 is open here. There we go. You can see on the Quest 2 that fan housing is relatively small. It's the white part. So there's obviously no big ring that goes around the outside, but got our Wi-Fi antennas. The board is very reminiscent of the Quest 2 board, by the way. These Wi-Fi antennas plug in the same place. Bluetooth antenna plugs in the same place. The fan placement is almost identical. There's a handful of little differences here and there, like the camera connections are different. And then these hooks that these cables go into are a little bit more of a nuisance, because on the Quest 2 you can just kind of pull straight up, but these are much more like the Quest 3 hooks, where they kind of, you got to pull away. You got to find the angle. Got your Wi-Fi antenna still goes underneath the board, so you have to take the board all the way out in order to access the LCD assembly, which is fine. We're used to that on the Quest 2. That's become somewhat standard for us. Let's go ahead and we'll pop a couple more ribbons here. This looks like it's the microphone. This looks like it's the volume button. And that action button, some sort of sensor there. Oh, that was a question. So yeah, so this little guy right here is this sensor here. So this button, let me see, let me show you here. So we were very curious about what this little dot here does on this side, because the other side doesn't have one. And this has to do with your pass-through and the action button. So, because it's connected directly to this sensor right there is where the action button is. Let me show you right here. That's this sensor, and this cable come down here and attach to this action button and this volume button. So that sensor must have something to do with the pass-through. All right. Not sure what this cable goes to yet. It's not the battery. It's not a proximity sensor. It's got to be... What does it go to? Keep an eye out for that. Oh, this goes to the headlamp, I guess. It's got to be. And then what size is this? 4.0 is too big. 3.5. Oops. So that's the same little hex bolts that they use on the Quest 2 as well. Nothing crazy there. That's that same standoff mechanism that they use for that bracket. Let's see if we can... I'm going to see if we can get away with taking this board out without taking the cooler off, because if there's no need, then we'll just work around it until there is a need. Motherboard screws. But is that the only screw? Oh, there's another standoff. Huh. Okay. And there, these screws are non-ferrous, so those little bolts, those little standoff bolts. So just be prepared for them to kind of wiggle around on you. So I do think that something here is keeping us secured. I'm just going to go ahead and take these off so that I know for sure. That's a really small, that is just the tiniest screw. It just barely holds anything. Oh yeah. See, I would have guessed it would have been the opposite. I would have guessed that these would be really short, fat screws, but as soon as I took those out, the motherboard just kind of wanted to come free. And there it is. Gosh, it is so similar to the Quest 2 board. It's crazy. So this is the Quest 3S board, and this is the Quest 2 board. We can take this cooler off too. I mean, aside from the processor, we're looking pretty similar. It's kind of wild. By the way, if you guys, if I gloss over anything, just because, you know, this is our first teardown of this unit, so if I kind of breeze through anything, please do leave us a comment so that I can go back and, you know, take a closer look at something if you really had a curiosity. Now, just because I'm a worrywart, I'm gonna go ahead and put these little tiny screws back in here. I don't see any reason to leave them out. Next, if this is anything like the Quest 2, which it most certainly is, we're going to have to take this antenna out. Just kind of check in, making sure that we don't have anything hooked. These speakers are speaker wires. Most of the time they're hooked. And then it looks like we've got maybe a little tiny bracket down here that holds something in place. And then we've got 1, 2, are these, I think 1, 2, 3 screws. We're gonna hope that this just takes 3 screws to get this LCD out. Let's see if I can position you better. Because less screws the better, in my opinion. Okay, so these 2 screws at the bottom do seem to hold something in. I was kind of hoping they were just part of the assembly, because you do see that on the Quest 2. Is that there's screws that are exposed, but they're just kind of part of the LCD assembly. But alrighty, and now, oops, maybe those are part of the LCD assembly. I totally overlooked these guys in the corner. See that little guy right there, and there's one right there as well. That makes more sense, because these little screws, they're nothing. They weren't holding anything in, and I didn't think they were, but then when the LCD didn't budge, it made me second guess myself. Magic moment. That shell frame. If I closed my eyes, it would be like I was just holding a Quest 2 shell frame. I mean, it's so similar. It's interesting that they changed up this battery compartment a little bit. Let's take a look here. Closer look. We can see that LCD panel right here. So, and then we've got the headlamp. So the LED that kind of shows out the front and manages proximity. This is the exact same mechanism. Let me grab a Quest 2 LCD. But this is the Quest 3S LCD, and that's the Quest 2 LCD. They're so similar.
What's the back look like?
Quest 2 and Quest 3 S. So this aluminum chassis on the back is different for sure, but gosh, they're so close. I do wonder. I wonder if I took this off, because you see that screw hole there, 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 screw hole there.
Can you just switch them? I'm
wondering if you could just switch them.
Well, you have on that one.
Mm-hmm.
If you switch back around.
Yeah.
This one's thinner here than it is here. This silver part.
It's thinner?
This part is wide right here.
Yeah.
This part's thinner.
Yeah, I know, but I think this back panel is the same though. Because look at this. Yeah, I think that we would just take this off and then flip it onto that. I am confident. I mean, they're not identical, but they're so close.
Almost there.
Almost there. But for sure, this little housing assembly and these lenses are identical. Well, I don't see any need to go any further there. That's just kind of is what it is. Let's take the battery out, I guess. Got 4 screws that hold it in, 2 on the side and then 2 on the top. Start with the top ones and go from there. This battery is definitely much more like Quest 2 sized. Than Quest 3 sized. The Quest 3 batteries are bigger and fatter, like wider around the edge. Let's see here. Anybody from Meta ever watches this, I would love to sit down and talk with you about some of your design choices. Like, why do you have to use so many different types of screws? Point of reference. They are so scary similar. So similar. This is the Quest 2 battery. This is the Quest 3S battery. I would not be surprised at all if this is just the same battery with a different casing on the outside of it. I don't like to take casings off of these if I don't really have to, so I'm not going to tear it down any further than this. But maybe at some point in the future we'll take a look and see. But yeah, take another look here. Quest 3S battery, Quest 2 battery, very, very similar. Let me take off one of these cameras here, because I'm curious to make sure. I just want to confirm that these cameras are in fact Quest 2 cameras. I have a feeling that they are Quest 2 cameras, or like what we've come to know as a Quest 2 camera. Bracket there, and bingo. Which again, that's really good news for us. That's really good news for, I'd say, the VR repair community in general, because those Quest 2 cameras are plentiful. Personally, I've probably got hundreds of those little cameras. Sure, it's wedged in there though. And there it is. Just the normal standard Quest 2 camera. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this on camera while I try to line these suckers up. It's amazing to me that they are getting this much mileage out of the Quest 2 cameras. I guess it must be a really good camera for them to have been using it as consistently as they have been. I mean, because the Quest Pro controllers use the same module of camera, and now the Quest 3S uses the same module of camera as the Quest 2. Alrighty. Now the official rebuilding process begins, and let's see how quickly we can do it. I guess we'll do our best to just go one step at a time. Put this battery back in. Everything seems pretty good here. Just like the Quest 2, I'm just going to kind of make sure that all my cables are out of the way, and then it seems like a pretty straightforward matter of just popping the LCD back in place. No proximity sensor that I need to worry about now. So we just got to worry about everything on the bottom. That looks like it lined up okay. And then speaker wires always seem like they're going to give me trouble. That lamp's exposed, battery's good. Let's see here. Go ahead and secure this. Getting a little bit of slippage, so I'm just going to trade bits here. That pH 00 seems to bite just a little bit better. So maybe I'll roll with that. Taking things apart is the fun part. Putting things back together, less fun. A lot more memory involved in the putting things back together portion. All right, and then got two little guys down here that we took out, but we didn't really need to. Okay, that's looking lovely. We're going to go ahead and work this way back home. And as long as we're lined up here, should be able to just, oops. Right, and let's go back with these hex bolts. All right. Okay, and then it's time to start plugging some things back in. Start with the LCD cable. There's not a real clear line of sight on this to line it up compared to other headsets. Oh, but we got it. Okay. That's in. I don't think I need to wait on anything to put this guy in. Let's go ahead and secure that. At this point, we're just kind of going based off memory, so there may be some little minor mistakes that are made, but we'll go back and watch the video and Make sure that everything kind of went back in place. I mean, the real testament will be to whether or not it, just turns on. Does it turn on? Well, that's a pretty good sign that we did something right. Well, oh, I see. I was thinking I'd screwed something up, but I think it's fine. Sometimes on the Quest 2, this antenna gets tucked up underneath the LCD, and I was afraid that I had done that. But it turns out that it just kind of goes up here underneath these cables and clips in here. Now we'll put this speaker back in place. That's looking pretty solid. It's looking pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and plug these cables in while we have good visibility on them. Once I put that fan on there, I'm not going to be able to see or get to anything. Okay. It's just kind of as a... This lamp's very similar on the Quest 2, and it just kind of needs to, there it goes, just needs to line up there. Not too worried about these little adhesive strips. And then let's see here. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so I guess those two screws did need to kind of come out after all. I kind of second-guessed myself on that earlier. I was like, I don't know if these need to come out or not, but I'm going to take them out because they're right here. And then these kinds of things are always tricky. Oh, I see my mistake here. This needs to kind of go, it needs to sit underneath. There's a little, perfect. So now we know. That's something to look out for in the future. So that basically is like a little bracket thing. We'll need to know to keep an eye on that in the future. Knowing what I know about that other one made this one a lot easier. Cool. And these are brackets. Okay. Sounds pretty good to me. Luckily, I think all three of these that hold this bracket in are the same screw, same size, same thread, so didn't have to do any memorization of the shot placement here. Oh, except I did have one misfire here. Not sure what is up there. It's almost like that Wi-Fi, or almost like that Bluetooth antenna is not quite in the right place. So we definitely don't want to drill through that Bluetooth antenna. Oh, almost forgot about my fan here. It's interesting to me that antenna just seems to be right in the way. Because it's not like there's any place else for it to be. Go ahead and plug this in and make sure that everything works, I guess. All right, seems like everything's plugged in, so let's see if seems like we may have forgotten to plug the device in before we stopped testing it yesterday. So it's dead. I've got a charge light, so that's a pretty good sign. We're 1%. Let's just see if it boots. See how lucky I can get. Oh, dead battery. But you want to turn on. I know you do. We got the Meta logo. Oh, okay. Just tell me it'll be okay. I got audio in both ears. And we're tracking. It's beautiful. It works. It's that easy. Alrighty, we're gonna power it back off now. Put the faceplate back on, and then we'll be done. How cool is that? I do have one more bracket here. We'll go ahead and put this in place. Okay. We're all good there. Oh, let's make sure this little antenna's finds its home. All right. And we just got these 5 screws that hold in that front plate. If you work for Meta, by the way, and you happen to be watching this, feel free to email me all of the nomenclature that you guys use, because a lot of the nomenclature that we use, like front plate and face plate and Quest 2 camera, is just stuff that we've kind of had to make up. I guess it's become a bit of a just slang for us around here. So if you've got a list of actual nomenclature for these components, I'd be happy to take it off your hands or borrow it for a little while. These screw points are surprisingly accessible. Not really having any issues reaching these screws. The Quest 2 can be a little weird with its screw placement, and the Quest 3 is not too bad, but the screws aren't they're non-ferrous, so they can be really easy to get a hold of. You have to use tweezers for almost every screw in the Quest 3 because they're just such a pain. That's looking pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Very familiar, but it is just a little different. Throws me off just a little bit. I think these screws might actually be a T3. Because my T2 screwdriver over here seems a little small, but this T2 bit is kind of big, if that makes any sense. All right, that's it. That's the Quest 3S. Teardown and build up. So it can be done. Final thoughts here on this. This unit seems extremely repairable to me, coming from, you know, repairing hundreds if not thousands of other Quest units and VR headsets. The Quest 3S is right up there with the Quest 2 in the vein of repairability. So, you know, if you're not super inclined toward repairs, if you're not super handy, you've not done a whole lot of electronics repair, you're probably not going to be super comfortable with it. If you've already repaired something on your Quest 2 before, or if you're looking to send that into somebody like us to repair Quest 2, this is definitely doable, given that you can get the parts, which hopefully will become more available as time goes on and people buy more of these units. There are a lot of parts that are shared and a lot of parts that are very similar between the Quest 2 and Quest 3. I'll probably go over those in more detail in other videos when we do Quest 2 comparisons and Quest 3 comparisons. For now, I just kind of wanted to tear it all the way down, kind of show you what's going on inside, and then build it back up. I'm really happy with these little units. I think these are great. Super easy to repair, super fun, great price point. They seem well built and engineered. It looks like Meta took a lot of notes from previous things and adapted it. There are some things that I'm still unhappy about. I know that there are other things that other people are unhappy about, like the Fresnel lenses. I don't mind the Fresnel lenses, and like I keep saying, I'm really happy that the lenses are the same as the Quest 2, because that means that if you had the prescription lenses for the Quest 2 or any sort of adapters that you were using and you were afraid to move to the Quest 3 because that was going to be a big price jump for you, or having to get new lenses or whatever the situation was, you could just swap these on over and be happy with that solution. So I think for Quest 2 users that had specialty lenses, that's a big win. I'm also really happy that for the tracking cameras, we just used the Quest 2 cameras. I'd kind of suspected based on just their outside appearance, but digging into the headset proves that the cameras that are getting used for tracking in this headset are the same as the tracking cameras in the Quest 2 and same as the tracking cameras on the Quest Pro controllers, which means that there's a surplus of these cameras out there. You break a tracking camera, great. Like, that's fixable. Very, very repairable. What else do we want to go over? It's easy to get into. It's as easy to get into. Same amount of screws, same types of screws as the Quest 2. So 6 T2 screws, maybe T3 screws. My T2 screwdriver seems to take them out, but it seemed a little small. So 6 screws on this side, and then 5 on the inside that kind of hold in the faceplate, and then you can pop that open and take a look and see if something's going on inside this headset. If you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys watching. It helps us a lot when you do get a chance to like and subscribe to the channel, comment, share the channel, share the videos. That helps us out a lot, and hopefully people out there who need this kind of information, it helps them too. We're really just doing our best to get as much information about repairing these units out there, because we get a lot of questions about it. We get emails, dozens if not hundreds of emails every single day about how to do this, how to do that, can I fix this, can I fix that, what about this? And so this has just become a part of how we operate and what we do to try to get information out there to answer those really super common questions. And we got a lot of questions about the Quest 3S, so I'm happy that we were able to do the teardown. Now, about the giveaway. Now that we've put this back together and I didn't break it and it works and it's functional, we'll play around with it a little bit more over the coming weeks, and we'll make a few more videos and comparisons just between the Quest 2, the Quest 3, visuals, functionality, audio. We've got a handful of videos lined up that we're excited about, but we are going to be giving this Quest 3S away. So the rules of the giveaway are fairly simple. All you have to do is be subscribed to our channel, and you can comment on this video or any of the videos that we do about the Quest 3S. If you like and comment on any of the videos that we do about the Quest 3S, whether that's the one we did about the unboxing or about this video or future videos between now and the end of the giveaway, you will be entered to win. But you have to be subscribed to the channel too. We're going to wrap the giveaway up on October 31st, so that's the end of this month. That gives everybody about 2 weeks to participate and comment and make sure you're subscribed. So if you want a brand new Quest 3S before the end of the month, now you know what to do. Guys, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you hanging out and watching the whole video. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun doing a teardown. This was a great little teardown, and I'm excited that I got a chance to do it. We learned a lot, and I can't wait to compare this even more closely to its siblings, the Quest 2 and the Quest 3, in future videos. So subscribe and stick around for that. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. We'll see you on the next one.